a lot of food now will be like whatever flavor flavored with natural and artificial flavors. And you're like, okay, so wait, it's like basically the pornification of food. So you're like, where is the flavor coming from? Is it the natural flavor or is it from the actual high quality seasonings? And so we're very passionate about like the honey, which is real honey that we use drizzled onto our cracker versus like a honey flavored cracker. You know, these things hijack your palate.
All right, Kristine. So thank you for cruising over to the casa.
Thanks for having me.
And this is fun because I've only physically met you one other time.
That's true.
And you trust me. Right. So
I'm a very trusting person.
Let's talk about what we're doing with your hair. So your hair is currently long, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to see it, how long it is once you move the white cape on it.
Okay.
So tell me about your hair. Your hair is long. What do you do with it?
It's actually kind of thick, some people say. So it's kind of heavy and it kind of just falls flat. I would say rather uninteresting. And because we've been working on this business for the past 4 years, haven't really made much of an effort to do anything. And then I ran into you and I was reminded like, wow, back in the day when I used to get my hair done, it just makes you feel different. So I was like, you know what, let's do this. I think something maybe short.
Okay.
Just so it's easy to manage.
Easy to manage. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to sip some coffee while I hear
Okay.
short. So explain short, because short to me as a hairdresser is relative to where you're beginning.
Oh.
So if you have hair down to your ass.
Yep.
And I take it to the middle of your back.
Yeah.
Some individuals go, oh my gosh, my hair is so short. You take somebody who has maybe hair above the shoulders and they're like, what are you talking about?
Right.
That's long.
Yeah.
So short is relative to where you're starting. So
it's a good point.
I don't know what that means anymore. Like there's so many things I thought I used to know, but having so many conflicting outcomes or answers over the 22 years of doing hair, I just go, what does that mean to you?
Okay.
Like when people say, I want 3 inches. I'm like, what does 3 inches look like to you?
That's a good point.
I don't know. Everyone measures things differently.
So I think something that could frame the face well.
Okay.
You know, I would take your guidance of what that would be from how you see my face, what would look nice with my face. I'm open to doing anything as short as here.
Okay. So
to anything lower, I think. Yeah. And my hair grows pretty quickly as well.
Okay.
So I think I'm open to the adventure and just seeing what happens.
All right, I got more questions.
Okay.
I always jokingly say I don't do consultations anymore.
Okay.
I've resigned from that. I go full on interrogation.
Okay.
So I want to know, do you need to pull your hair up ever?
Yes, for if I'm doing a demo. We'll do demos at Central Market or HEB. And so it just has to be in hairnet. So I guess in theory, it doesn't have.
As long as it can get off of your neck and out of your face.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
So we could go as short as a pixie because that would be as short as most men's haircut.
What's a pixie?
Pixie, like short. You know?
Oh.
And you'd still be able to go into a hairnet, right?
Yes.
So now it's not like where like if you were a server, some restaurants have a policy where the hair needs to be pulled up into a ponytail.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I'm asking.
Okay.
I don't know the rules of food. I've never worked in the food.
Oh.
I've only had 3 jobs my entire life.
Okay.
I've sold guitars. I've sold cameras.
Okay.
Which is why I love photography for that. And then I've done hair.
Okay.
I don't know the world of food. I just know what it's like to eat at the restaurant. I don't know what it's like to work in a restaurant.
Okay.
I don't know anything about that.
So I'd probably not do, because pixie, that would be like
short. Yeah.
So probably not pixie.
Not
okay. I was like, you know.
No, I'm not recommending pixie. I'm just saying that if you wanted to go short.
Yeah.
It's still going to work with the hairnet. That's all I need to know.
You know, going back to what you were saying earlier, like, tell me how short is short for you, because the reference point, you know, going out saying like, I'm pretty adventurous. I'm like, my hair grows quickly. And then you give a reference point. I'm like, oh, wait, maybe I'm not as adventurous as I thought.
Adventurous, again, to me, it's all subjective.
It is.
You know, like if you grew up only eating very plain, bland, non-seasoned food.
Yeah.
adventurous is Taco Bell.
True.
Because that has probably more seasoning
Yeah.
than if you just ate pancakes.
Yeah.
I stopped placing judgment. I stopped just caring about that. Where like, I want to, just point to where you want your hair.
Yeah.
Because that's going to clear it all.
Yeah.
So, you say short, cool. When I think it's short, I think of anything above the shoulders.
Okay.
I think bobs. That's where short begins for me.
Okay.
But short could be, I want to go short for me.
Yeah.
So that could be right here.
Okay.
And that, look, that's about like at least 6 to 7 inches of length.
Oh.
Coming up.
Yeah.
What's the shortest you've had your hair?
A bob.
A bob. Did you like it?
I think so. Yeah. It was.
I think so. Not sure.
It was a long time ago. I think it felt light, and I was kind of more parted to the side, and I would be forced to use the round brush. Okay. And you do the flip, and you're like,
yeah.
Yeah. You kind of feel like you have a little bit of swag when you have it. So I'd be down with something like that.
You'd be down for that?
Yeah.
Now let's talk about this. I see your hair has like a little bit of like a wave in it.
It does.
Mainly here in the back, it's the most prominent.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to be able to embrace some of that wave with your hair, where you don't feel like you're having to blow dry it straight? Like you could wake up, you could shower, you could put some product in, maybe let it air dry, and then maybe you have this cool, fun, like wavy sort of bob.
Yeah.
Is that?
I'd be open to that.
Okay, cool. I'm not trying to say go to a bob.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking it's already in the low 80s now.
Yes.
It's only going to get hotter.
Yeah.
The only hesitation I have with this, and I'll just explain my hesitation, is that if it is sitting here, it's really difficult to just get it off of your neck.
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay.
So that's my only hesitation.
Okay. Then we could do it a little longer. I think that's good.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if it's sitting, like, if your hair were to be sitting in here, it's going to be covering it. Now, not all. Now, you could just go through and just put like a something to get it up here.
Yeah.
It's like you're not going to be able to get it all up into a ponytail. You can get probably most of it up to like here, and then some of this parts is kind of hang out.
Okay.
It would be a huge, big change.
Yes. Let's do it.
And if you're ready to like move forward in life, sometimes you got to leave a lot of things behind. And one of the best ways of starting something forward and creating a new path is by not looking like the same person.
I got teary-eyed there.
Why?
Because I think it's, like you said, sometimes you need a hard pivot change to see yourself differently. And just kind of, like sometimes they say like, fake it till you make it. I mean, that's not everyone loves that saying, but just kind of.
It's true though.
Yeah. Like believe it and act in a certain way and then kind of move that way forward, especially if you don't have a supportive network that like believes that as well. Yeah. And I just think of like people who feel anchored to who they were when really you can kind of recreate yourself at any time. Kind of like Madonna from that perspective, or Beyonce, or like Taylor Swift, or many artists.
See, for me, the one who did it the most and did it the best was David Bowie.
Oh.
You want to talk about every record was a character.
That's true.
And it was each record of David Bowie, and the character that went along with the music was all who he was. And he was just showcasing, that's what I'm wanting to show to the world right now. And I think as calculating as it did look, I also think it was a very authentic thing for him to be like, well, this is who I also am. And I want to show this right now.
Yeah.
Like people are talking about Lady Gaga.
Okay.
And I said, Lady Gaga is really just pulling a page out of David Bowie's book.
Yeah.
Madonna did the same thing.
Yeah. And I think maybe I didn't, it's funny because I saw the David Bowie exhibit at the V&A in the UK.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. But I think because I didn't grow up listening to his music, I didn't see each thing as like very distinctive. I'm sure my fiance, who loves David Bowie, would be like, you're wrong. Like he would say this, not like you're telling me I'm wrong, but like enlighten me. And I think too, probably artists now are more vocal to be like, look at this big change. Like this is different, and like compare albums. Where if you're a newcomer to like Fleetwood Mac as an example, like you'd listen to a song versus like comparing album to album. Like in this day and age, if we're listening, we get onto tracks onto like TikTok or something. You don't sit down and you're like, let's go through all the albums that like the Beatles had or like Simon and Garfunkel. And so I think that's a good reference point because from what I recall, going to the museum was like his work was so distinctive during that period.
Yeah.
But I was kind of visiting Europe being like, I want the art. Give me all the art. And probably didn't fully appreciate at that time.
Everything.
Yeah. How different it was.
And the other thing too is like what he had done, so many people have now copied and embraced, where it doesn't feel revolutionary. It doesn't feel as wow.
Yeah.
Because he was the first one that really, I think, do it the most successfully. So like that's also like, I think the things like people can change, but like, do you do it how well?
What do you think of Beyonce's new album?
I don't listen to Beyonce.
Okay.
It's not in my, I don't enjoy that style of music.
Yeah.
It's not in my world. I think she can sing. I never take that away. I never take someone's talent away from them. I just may not like how they use their talent musically.
Right.
I grew up listening to Slayer and Nirvana.
Okay.
Spits and the Ramones. Soundgarden. It's more rock, but I also love country. And I like old country.
Okay. Like Johnny Cash.
Yeah. Waylon Jennings. All the outlaw stuff.
Okay.
Like Buck Owens. I love that stuff. And I like rap. But I like rap to a certain point. I didn't get into hip hop. Actually, I'll say this. I'm not so much a hip hop fan. I like rap music. To me, there is a difference.
Okay.
I like some rap, and I didn't really get into it until my mid to late 20s.
Okay.
I really was dived into metal, head rock, and blues. That was like my thing. So, Beyonce, I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
They were listening to a salon.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the salons are playing the Beyonce stuff.
Yes.
It's not my thing.
Got it.
It's a lot of other people's stuff. And a lot of people like her. So
a lot of people like her. Yeah.
Out. Yeah. It's fine. But not a lot of people, love Metallica.
Yeah.
And
everyone has, I think this is what we were talking about, is like people can have different opinions. And it's not, like you said, you respect her talent. And you think she's doing good at what she's doing.
Absolutely.
It's just when you're thinking, what's the go-to song I'm going to listen to on a road trip? It's not going to be that.
It's not Single Ladies.
Yeah.
No.
But mine would be John Denver.
Oh.
I love John Denver.
But if you were to say, look, I got tickets to Beyonce. Come with me. I'm down to the experience.
Yeah.
I want to see what this whole thing is. And I think seeing an artist you're not familiar with live is the best way to experience an artist you're not familiar with. Because you're in their element. You're in their world.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more contagious than the excitement of people.
Yeah.
Large gatherings.
Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna do Bob today.
A Bob.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right.
So I'm gonna take it to like right around here.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do a fun little layered sort of thing.
Okay.
What I would like to know is, do you want any extra shorter pieces around here? So like if you were back of glasses, those are going to come off anyways. But what I was thinking is you want to do something where you have a bob here and then these pieces just kind of a little bit shorter. And does your hair hold bend? Because if I were to make these shorter, I'm going to have to style this.
Right.
I don't know if that's something you want to sign up for or if you want to be able to like, look, I'll wash it.
Yeah.
Lightly style it. Because if you want to lightly style, I would say not do.
Okay.
Because you're going to have to style that to get that blow dry.
Yeah.
And I just don't know your level of commitment to wanting
the maintenance.
Because styling is maintenance.
Yeah.
It's worried about the upkeep of the haircut. And I'm more focused on the day-to-day management.
Yeah.
Because once you leave here.
Right.
I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You said you'd do these things. I don't know if you were going to.
Okay. So if we cut it here, you'd say I would need to, like, what would it entail?
Blow dry with the round brush. Like you'd have to like blow dry this and everything else could kind of air dry.
Okay.
But I don't know. Do you want it to be, I mean, I think it would look really nice on your face to have something like a little shorter here and then something like that.
Okay.
But you don't have to. It's just a suggestion. And we can do that at the very end. We don't have to.
I'd say I'm going to aim for a low maintenance.
Yeah.
the lowest maintenance that I can do that will still allow me to have, do the hair. And I'm like ready for a meeting, like
Ready for a meeting?
Drinks out in New York.
You know what? Then I'm actually thinking, let's not do a bob.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Like, I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like it would be a little like, I don't know, like let's do something like right in here.
Okay.
Layers a little bit more sassy.
Okay.
And you can still kind of pull it up.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to go like business, like, suit up and show, you could go through and like have a hard part, slick it back, have like a nice low, tight ponytail.
Yeah.
Where you have that.
Yeah.
So let's just kind of derail. Okay. Let's slide to the bottom.
Okay. And someone told me yesterday, there's a quote with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
That's like, it applies to fame and wealth. Like, it's great getting there, great getting to be famous, but it's not great being famous. Like the pressure and everything. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I could easily understand
Yeah.
where that comes from.
Yeah.
No.
I also think it depends on what you become famous for. And also at what age you become famous. So like if you're in your 30s, you may have a better developed sense of who you are.
Yeah.
And then if you're like a teenager, imagine just how you were as a teenager.
Yes.
And now everything you do is on TMZ, Us Weekly, Star Magazine, all the news gossip shows. Like every time they think you may like.
Right. Yeah.
That would be a really difficult.
Very difficult.
To do it. So.
That's actually why I have so much sympathy for Britney Spears, Justin Bieber. He's so young. So young.
Yeah, no. That's why I want to ask my buddy Jeremy, who was on Baywatch, because, he was really young.
Yeah.
Cast as the son, David Hasselhoff's character. That role could have actually gone to Leonardo DiCaprio. It was between Leonardo DiCaprio and Jeremy Jackson.
Oh, wow.
And he talks about it in another podcast. But I want to know, like, what's it like to be? I mean, I've been around people who were young. I mean, I was going to bars in LA and I wasn't 21 and I was hanging out with other people who were not 21.
Right. But like 15, 14 or like 17, 18?
Between 16. Like the youngest.
Okay.
Some of the people that were at the bars.
Okay.
And these are like well-known bars.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to route out the bars.
No, of course not. I mean, it's fun. It's fun. I mean, being young and the adventure, it's fun. So should I take off my glasses?
You're going to have to.
Okay.
So a minute, hold on. That's cool. And you're going to have to uncross your...
Okay.
If this is your hair air dried, is this air dried?
Yep.
Cool. So if we can get this to look good air dried, then when you do apply some effort to it.
Yeah.
Right? That's just my outlook on hair.
Okay.
Right. And do you part your hair in the middle or does it move?
Lately I've been doing middle.
Cool. Awesome. So let me grab my chair, pull up a chair, and you are going to tell me a story about who you are, how we met, and why you're here.
I'm Kristine, and I'm the co-founder of NUFS with my sister Jess. We make gluten-free, seed oil-free products, and our hero product is a hot honey. And we met because I was demoing the product at Central Market. I remember, because you're very supportive of entrepreneurship, you were like, I would love to try this, but I can't because we are on a restrictive diet right now at home with no seed oils. And I said, we do have no seed oils. You're like, let me take a look. And that's when we got to chatting. And I loved the excitement in your son's voice when he said, Dad, I can eat crackers.
Yeah.
And that made me so happy because, NUFS is about, using simple ingredients should be enough to make a good product. And also that, there's kind of no rules and trying to bring back that sense of joy for food. We happen to be gluten-free and seed oil-free, but we really just want to bring joy back to food. Food is about community. And so I was so happy when your son was so happy to eat crackers.
Oh, they ate those crackers so quickly.
Tab is so sweet.
Oh,
he's a good kid.
He's a super good kid.
He's a good kid.
He's like a super loving child too. Earlier today, was just hugging on my friend Ashley, like just would not let her go. And I'm like, do you have a crush on Ashley? I warned her. I go, you better be careful. He's a flirt. You better let Jason know. He's in for some trouble. I am a big fan of trying out all the things, and my kids, one of their favorite things of going to
Essential Market or an HEB, right? Is being able to try the demoing the food. Because there's so many times I'm like, man, this is amazing. And we buy it and you love it.
Mm-hmm.
But with our changes of already taking a very clean diet and really tightening down the screws, if you will, right? When we took a look at seed oils, which was never really on our radar until the beginning of this year of 2024, it really, it cleaned out our entire pantry. We're like, wow, these things that we, based off of our research, we've looked into, they seem to be bad. If we can at least remove them, it's going to be hard, but we can do it. And what was so cool is that such a early stage in our journey of no seed oils, we discover you at Central Market with your product NUFS.
Yes.
Because I was like, oh, cool. We were trying to figure out look, I told you earlier, one grocery bag is always dedicated to Siete products, right?
Mm-hmm. Great product.
Yep. Delicious. It fits the criteria.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, well, they're going to get bored with the chips.
Yeah.
They're going to need something else.
Yep.
And crackers are a very delicious thing. And it was so cool.
Axel, our youngest, he liked the hot ones. And then at
Hot honey.
and he was, man, what is doing it?
He's also our kid who would go crazy with sriracha at 3. He's pouring sriracha.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah. He just sees us do it. He wants to do anything his brother or us are doing. He wants to be grown.
Well, we like to say, funnily enough, we actually brought the crackers out to LA and people said it was too spicy.
To where? Irwan?
We brought it to a food show.
Okay.
And there were some people who thought it was too spicy. And so now we say it's designed for the Texas tongue.
Ooh, that's actually that's a really great phrase.
Yeah. I think, trying to just be out there sampling with as many people as you can, just putting yourself out there, which, I have to thank you because you, Axel and Tab were the first guests at Central Market that I sampled with that day.
Oh, really?
And you're always nervous when you show up. What if it's really slow? What if no one likes the product?
It's also not fun to live a life of what ifs
That's true.
or to start your day with what ifs.
That's true.
Sorry to get all philosophical so quickly, but.
So I guess then, does that mean you have a set kind of morning routine that ensures that it starts off on a good footing?
Well, I try. I definitely try to have a good morning. And that's a routine of trying to get some sort of workout in.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I haven't done in
3 weeks.
You've been on the road a lot.
I've been at that, from the amount of travel I do, I realized I had to it's like a gas break.
It's I need to put the gas on the work.
Yeah.
And the break on some extracurricular things that take time and energy out, where if I don't get enough sleep and then my immunity drops and then I become sick and then I'm useless to everybody.
Yes.
It's I can focus on eating, sleeping, and working on that.
Yep.
Doing fun things that are physically active, like riding bikes with the kids.
Yeah.
As far as getting in there and do a good gym session, I haven't really done that. I think living a life of what ifs is also, for me, is just waking up and just going I have no control over the day.
Yeah.
I have all the control over me.
Yep.
So, you said what if, and I'm yeah, you could live a whole life of what if they don't like this? What if they don't like that?
Yeah.
But as soon as you get to a point where you realize you're not trying to win over the people who are already on the side of
yeah,
you couldn't like this. When you start trying to make concessions, you're wasting your
energy.
The wrong group.
Definitely.
It's you have a mailing list. And you set out a new mailing list or something, and 100 people, unsubscribe. It's cool.
Right.
They were never going to be for me anyways.
Yeah.
So you're talking about having a group of people who are supportive in your network.
Yeah.
It makes me think of don't put your energy into them if you're looking to them to be supportive. Find the people who are supporting you.
Right.
Lean into that. Because they're the ones who want to. Adam from Strong Coffee, he was saying that your family are the people who don't want you to actually ever change and be a better version of you. Because you should check it out, because he says that because they don't want you to change.
I think I saw that part. Yeah.
They want you to stay the same, so they feel better about them not changing anything.
I saw that. Right? Yeah.
I started thinking, you see my face literally start going, I was oh my God, it's so true. It's our friends
true.
Don't want you, because it's a reminder that they've really never gone through their shit.
Right.
Quick, what are we doing on the lights? Do you want to go a little shorter?
I think we could do Friday.
Okay.
We're Friday.
Like maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember seeing that part, and I was just thinking, so I grew up Vietnamese family, and I love Vietnamese food. Like,
Oh my gosh, one of my
banh
favorite
mi and
foods.
pho. But when you're eating it all the time, I played rugby growing up. Like, you're not going to have pho and then go play rugby. Like there's just not really the preparation. And so I remember there was a phase where I was like, Mom, I don't want to eat as much Vietnamese food. And it was a hard conversation, because I kind of felt like I was judging, but I needed it to be on a higher protein, lean diet. I think just any change in general, you're right. Change is hard because you don't know what's going to happen. Can you still have the same conversations with people? Like, I used to joke with you about these things, but now you're doing X, Y, Z. I can definitely, see where Adam is coming from.
It made me start really thinking about some of my own personal friendships with people and acquaintances.
I feel like, the more it's courageous when people see you exploring yourself and just exploring new things. I think they're inspired by that and find the courage themselves because they're like, oh, wow. You're doing this or you're doing this. And it's funny, like the stories we tell ourselves that are true, you know what I mean? Because we keep on telling ourselves that. Like I remember telling someone, they're like, oh, you're such a hard worker. I was like, yeah, when I was younger, I wanted to play the violin, but we just didn't have the money for all 4 kids, like for us to be taking violin lessons. And my friend was like, you have a job now and you don't have family, you don't have kids, you have no dependents. Like you could take those classes yourself. And I was like, you're right. I didn't. I ended up taking like French classes, but it was still that reminder like, whoa, in my mind, I've been telling myself like, I can't do this because it's not enough, which is, I love, for us, the word enough, not just like simple ingredients, but like that I am enough to figure it out, that we are with exactly what you have. Like you don't need connections. You don't need a bunch of money, go out and be enthusiastic and have a genuine interest. And you can actually like do a lot with that.
I always think of the wordplay, like the word impossible also say I'm possible.
Yeah.
Outlook, right? I think that's always, it's like extraordinary or it could be negative, it could be extraordinary. Right? Like you're extra basic.
Yeah. You basic bee.
Yeah, exactly. We all end up getting trapped into our heads at some stage of our life. And we don't ever evolve from there.
Do you think that's worse with social media?
Great question. I think it depends on the individual. I'm gonna sound like Jordan Peterson. It depends.
Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah, it's his whole faith. It depends.
That's true.
But I do think it depends. I think if you're open to suggestions, social media could be a great thing for opening your mind to new other avenues.
Yep.
But then if you are also, open-minded, so open-minded to the same degree that the wrong things can influence you. So I don't have an answer. So you grew up in Canada.
Yes.
Grew up in Canada, Vietnamese family, playing rugby.
Yeah.
Are you first generation, second generation, multiple generations later? I'm always curious.
Yeah, first generation.
Okay.
My mom did not like the rugby thing. It was too boyish.
Boyish?
Yeah. Your legs are getting too big.
I don't know much about the Vietnamese culture. So I don't know if it's like that, like super
common or
like was the things that she said, were those, was that culturally appropriate for her to say from where she grew up and how she grew up?
I think so. Okay. Like the concept of femininity is like smaller, petite, ladylike, or that perception of certain things that are ladylike when you're introduced to your aunties, like, oh, she lost weight, or oh, she's beautiful.
It's like the first thing.
Yeah. And I think, in hindsight, it all comes from a loving place. But at the time, like we were talking about earlier about having multiple dimensions of yourself that you want to express. You're like, I don't want to be that. Like, I want to be like, these are all the things that I'm interested in. And they make up Kristine. But it's not, I'm Kristine and I'm Vietnamese. Like, there's way more to me than that,
There is?
Yeah.
Okay. Away from me. Sorry. So if I have you tilt your head towards me, this side's going to be a little bit longer.
Okay.
Trying to get this little piece off. You're more than just Kristine who's Vietnamese.
Yeah. You're Tab. And you are interested in hair and music, you're creative, you're expressive, right? Versus Tab's a white male. And then what can possibly come from that? You know what I mean?
And this is where I'm gonna ruffle feathers, but it's like I never looked at it like that because I also just never put people into those categories of orientation, gender, and skin tone, Pantone, color.
Right.
I just never cared about that.
Yeah.
I was like, you're cool.
Yeah. It's awesome. That's rad.
You're cool.
Yeah.
That was never I never thought about that stuff. The one thing I did say, and I told you about, I'm so happy. I feel like more women I've been able to interact with who want to come on a podcast because the majority of what I do are actually women's haircuts.
Yeah.
If you look at the podcast, you think I'm a barber. And I'm like, yes, I do men's haircuts, but that's not all I do. Majority from my career of 60 to 70% of my clientele have always been women.
Yeah.
And my podcast is not showing that at all.
Right.
Right. It's it looks like 90% of my clients are men. And that's not the case. All right. So we took it a little shorter. How do you feel? Do you need to see your glasses from here?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Trust it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's do a little fun little texturizing.
Sure.
Some layers. One of the reasons I wanted to bring you on here is one, you have really long hair. I figured either she just wants to do something simple, fun haircut or something. But the other thing too is I love entrepreneurial spirit. I think most hairdressers are innately entrepreneurial.
Oh yeah.
Because we want to do things without having to really, work a 9 to 5 clock.
Right. But also you're kind of you're working with so many different types of textures of hair that you got to kind of wing it sometimes or build off of the experience that you've had. It's entrepreneurial. You're risk taking,
Totally. We're always risk taking. But I have some limited experience in food.
Okay. Yeah.
I am part of a company called Tosi.
That's so cool.
So I have some stake in the company. They needed a name and they needed a logo. And you can get it at Whole Foods. You can go get it at Costco. There's some other things that work, which I can't talk about.
Yep.
I know there were the snack backstage at the Gram was I think is the Emmys and I think the Oscars. I know Jerry Seinfeld's a big love thing because the products are
a great product.
They're just simple ingredients.
Yep.
They're clean. Everything's organic, non-GMO, which is something I'm excited about. And the name Tosi means true in Finnish.
Oh.
So they were trying to find a name that would help get the point across.
Yeah.
And me always thinking of the negative things first before the positive things. It's if you call yourself organic this, call it healthy that.
Yeah.
What if, one of the ingredients turns out that is not organic.
Right.
And now you're
alienating
a lawsuit or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Don't pigeonhole yourself.
Yes, definitely.
Clearly, they loved the pitch, they loved the logo, color scheme, the packaging I had suggested, and they went for it. And they just changed their packaging for because they're doing different things. So as a company grows, they change, and that's great. Mm-hmm. But they still are using the same green color. They're still using the same logo.
That's awesome.
I'm stoked about that. And I just know some of the things that they had to do hurdle-wise to grow, to expand. You and your sister started NUFS. I'm guessing it was here in Texas.
No.
Then how to get to Texas in 4 years? What you're doing, I think, in 4 years is a lot in a short amount of time.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We actually originally started in Toronto. Jess had quit her job and she gave the 3 weeks notice. The day before the Monday she started, I was like, it's feeling weird out there. I think we're going to have issues. We should go out and load up on ingredients. So we got up the next day at 5 a.m., went to the Costco Business Center. There's the guy or gal at the front clicking to see how many people came in. And I don't know why I asked him. It's so how many people already come in? He's normally at, 5:30, maybe 20 people. He's I've registered 110 and we're 10 minutes in. I was okay. And then I talked to the manager and he was standing in front of the toilet paper and the paper towels. And I said, this is crazy. What's going on? 2020. Yeah.
What month is this?
March.
This is before or after
St. Patrick's Day?
I think this would have been before,
Okay.
because it was the day that the World Health Organization announced that COVID was a global pandemic. After we went to Costco, we were sitting in line for Costco gas, heard that on the radio. My sister just looks at me like, I just quit my job. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And I just said, there's no perfect time to start a business. Just look forward.
Okay. So you and your sister had this plan
Yeah.
to start a business, and you have your business plan written out.
Yeah.
And you knew what you were going to be making or doing.
Yes, we did.
And is it exactly what you're doing today?
No. Oh. Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm like, this is.
I mean,
I feel like this is a Quentin Tarantino movie. I'm sort of starting in the middle or working our way back. It's great.
I think at the time, NUFS always meant the same thing. Simple ingredients should be enough to make a good product. I think it took years for us to kind of tighten up that phrasing and that wording, right? It's like starting any career for the first time. You're trying to justify yourself. I'm this, right? And then over time, you don't have to describe it so much. You're like, hey, I'm Tab. I'm a hairdresser.
I describe my podcast. Like,
right?
What's your podcast? It goes one haircut and a conversation at a time.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
But like to tighten up the messaging is so hard, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what's the topic of the conversation, right? And like, what type of hair? Is it going to be event hair or everyday hair? And so I think we were trying to figure that out. And initially we saw that, our dad got diabetes. And as we started paying more attention to food, we're like, wow, what's with all these additional ingredients and stuff? So really what we kind of landed on was, low glycemic, simple ingredients.
Can we define what simple means? Because I think that you and I are on the same page of simple.
Yeah.
There's somebody who's like, what the fuck is a seed oil? Like if they're already lost seed oil.
Right.
What does simple ingredient mean?
Yeah.
I want those definitions. I feel today's day and age, we all know the same words, but they don't mean the same thing
That's
anymore.
true. Yeah. Yes, definitely. For us, it means minimally processed ingredients. So something's ground down, milled down. I think if you can read it, like, okay, I got a strong degree of confidence that that's, minimally processed. Or just kind of thinking, wait a second, how much oil is there in corn? And then thinking, okay, wait, the ingredient is corn oil. Like, I wonder what would have needed to be done to it to extract out that oil. And so that's kind of how we think of foods. It's just kind of simpler is better.
The less is more?
Less is more.
I'm cutting your hair. I'm making sure I'm following it.
Yeah. And I think, enough is also about feeling too, because what might feel right to me or enough for me will be different for someone else. Like our number one ingredient is almond flour. And unfortunately, some people have allergies to that. There's a large, segment of the population that still eats peanut butter and nuts, and they use that as a source of protein. But I think at the end of the day, having consumers be in tune with how they feel, I think the best gauge, do you have daily bowel movements? That's super important.
Yeah. Like
as an indicator of like the condition or the state of being of your gut microbiome. Am I always irritable? Maybe I'm eating a lot of fried foods that's contributing to that.
Maybe you're not drinking enough water.
Maybe you're not drinking enough water. Yeah.
Magnesium and water.
Magnesium. Love it.
Yeah.
I love a nice, it was a calm magnesium drink in the evening before bed. Just makes your sleep so much better. Or a nice Epsom salt bath.
Yeah, that works too.
Fantastic. But yeah, so we started in Toronto, and then COVID happened. Gosh, we tried, to give out full package of products out on the street because a lot of the stores were closed or, events.
So you're
happening.
On the street. You're like the guy on this. You're like the guy or the gal on the street with the guitar going like, instead of playing songs, you're like, here, have some crackers.
Yeah. Well, we had our bites.
Bites.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we first started off with these refrigerated snacks and our thesis was, simple ingredients is enough. We use flaxseed and chia seeds, which great source of natural fiber. People would tell us like, wow, I feel more regular when I have your product. I'm like, yeah, glad you're going to the bathroom. That's great. And that's what we were giving out there. But it just, I remember vividly standing in front of this grocery store and one of the customers was like, who's that girl in the pink sweater giving out free stuff, like tell her to move. And the grocery store manager was like, I'm really sorry. We have to listen to our customers. But at the same time, you just felt so deflated, as an entrepreneur. And it was really, really hard, and we definitely had some success online with online orders, but it just felt like you were having to try so, so hard. So back in the day, I actually used to be in finance and I used to cover USAA. During COVID, I was like, I need to get out of here. So I took a trip out to Texas, and my first trip actually to San Antonio was when I covered USAA. The folks were so nice, just really, really kind group of people.
Friendly group of people.
It's a very friendly group of people. And we actually used to live in Pinawa, Manitoba, so kind of the Midwest of Canada. And so I just jived with it. I thought people were really nice. Went to Texas with 75 bags of NUFS bites and told my friend, some people think our flavors are too exotic. We had black sesame, we had a pandan coconut. And she's like, well, why don't you check out Central Market? I was like, what's Central Market?
By the way, the first time you walk into Central Market,
yeah,
it's the most magical display of produce I've ever seen.
Yes.
It's like piled up to the ceiling. It's all on ice. It's beautifully displayed.
So well done.
It's so great. I thought it was like the most amazing experience. I was like, this is what a high-end grocery store should look like.
Yeah.
It just felt right out of the gate.
Yeah. And accessible too, it's for them, it's just about being epicurious and bringing joy to food and really introducing people to food, from around the world. Their buyers travel around the world, looking for unique products that really can stand out in their shelves. Their customers, I think, after the last demo that I did in Houston, now I realize that what Central Market is basically a theme park for adults. Because customers will just walk around and this is from Italy. Wow, this is imported from here. Or tell me about this cheese. And their foodie team are so knowledgeable. There's a brand of hot sauce called Zabs, and they used distill peppers from St. Augustine, Florida. They did a demo this weekend. And one of the foodies was like, oh yeah, I know about this chili pepper. I used to subscribe to Chili Magazine. Never heard about that before,
There's a chili magazine. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
The chillest magazine there.
There's such a great, community. Because, what you were saying earlier about, you don't judge people based off of, the types of foods they've eaten. I think I didn't have sushi until I was 22.
However, I do get judgmental about if somebody says something's a good restaurant. Hey, we all have different palates, it's fine. But I do get judgmental.
Yeah, no.
It's and when somebody's like, oh, it's a great restaurant, I go, what's your favorite restaurant in town? And then they tell me, and I go, I don't know if we could be friends anymore.
Oh, interesting.
Not really that bad.
Yeah,
it's like when somebody's like, oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah.
And I go, what's your favorite movie? And then they tell me something, and I'm like, oh, God, that was awful. I hated that movie. So now I'm like, their favorite movie is my least favorite movie. So now I can use them as my barometer of things to stay away from.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
If my favorite movie, which it is The Big Lebowski.
Oh, okay.
It's your least favorite movie.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, you need to see Dune. And you're like, nope, not going to see Dune. I thought about it, but Tab, his favorite movie is my least favorite movie. I'm going to assume that I'm not going to enjoy that movie.
Got it.
That's how I do that. I am judgmental on that.
Okay.
But it's only because I agree.
It's a barometer.
I use it as a barometer reading. It's hey, is it hot? Is it cold? Is it, whatever it is? Because there's so much free time there's so little free time that if I'm going to go see a movie and spend 2 hours of my life, I want to kind of know.
And then
what are your top 3 favorite movies?
Yeah.
If Barbie is on the top of the list, we're probably not going to see eye to eye on most of anything cinema related. I saw it.
I didn't like it.
It was not for me. I literally was on the Oppenheimer side of that weekend.
Yeah. There are parts of it that I think were great, but I felt overwhelmed by the movie. But I'm also, I'm not a big movie person either. The Big Lebowski, I heard, all the guys loved it in high school and I never got to watching it. And then sometimes I can be pretty literal. So I watched it the first time, and you kind of have to be in that, if I'm on an on mode, I'm Forrest Gump or Gladiator. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I love those intense movies.
I love that. If somebody doesn't like Forrest Gump,
Then I'm like, oh, okay.
That's a red flag.
Total red flag.
Forrest Gump. Can you believe it almost actually didn't get produced?
Yes, I've seen the movies that made us.
So good.
I love documentaries, and
Me too.
Yeah,
me too.
That one's a great one. The Home Alone's a great one.
Oh,
Aliens is a great one.
Like it's in Home Alone almost didn't get produced?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Well, I must have missed that episode. Okay.
Watch it.
Okay.
Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it's a great because like Jim Candy
didn't
even really get paid. The guy who delivered the pizza got paid more.
Really?
Yeah. And that whole scene where he's in the van.
Yeah.
He's just like out of the bin.
Amazing.
It just shows how genius he was. But I said, how you
died too
judge
young
people about their palates and all that. I totally said I do judge people. But I don't judge people about all the other stuff.
But do you find that your palate, as you've adjusted, the types of foods you're eating, have you noticed your palate has changed?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't crave the sweetness, maybe.
Yeah.
When you do a hard reset on getting the sugar out of your life.
Yeah.
And the seed oils and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It really, you don't crave your body, those bridgeways that you built of what's supposed to be delicious.
Yeah. The dopamine hits.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It changes. Now the most delicious thing that is like my dessert is a large heaping spoon of raw honey.
Oh.
With raw milk.
Oh.
And then you stir it up. And so till the honey is engulfed in the milk.
Oh, wow.
And it is the most delicious, decadent thing. And it's dessert for me.
Oh, I have to try that.
You should try it.
I do love raw honey. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually use, so on that topic, there's a lot of food now will be like whatever flavor, flavored with natural and artificial flavors. And you're like, okay, so wait, it's like basically the pornification of food. So you're like, where is the flavor coming from? Is it the natural flavor or is it from the actual high quality seasonings? And so we're very passionate about like the honey, which is real honey that we use drizzled onto our cracker versus like a honey flavored cracker. These things hijack your palate.
That's it. That's what I think a lot of people miss is they go, why do these things cost more?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, you may have less ingredients on those lists, but they're a higher quality.
Yeah.
Potent,
Mm-hmm. Controversial to say because food inflation and scarcity, but food is very expensive to make. The supply chain, I think I've been shocked at how complex it is. You're getting almond flours from California, extra virgin olive oil from overseas. You can also get it from California as well. Also, the food fraud. There's another great documentary on Netflix. They talk about, what is it called? It's not called Ugly Delicious, but there's a documentary where it talks about essentially food fraud or like theft of bees in the States. And you realize, and the volatility that comes in weather variations from year to year that make it really hard for farmers to produce consistently.
Oh, yeah.
Really good food is expensive because there's so many hands involved and so many steps. And I think by buying high quality foods, you're almost like paying honor to the process and all the hard work that's been put in. The grocery partners at Central Market, at H-E-B, stocking everything, getting there at 4 or 5 in the morning. I think that's a side of the food system that I didn't see before getting into the food business. And I think that we're taken for granted by a lot of consumers during COVID, right? Like, where is my food? But wait a second, these people still have to come to work. They have families too, they're trying to stay safe. Yeah, the food business it truly takes a community. So it's amazing when like the grocery store operates because H-E-B is employee owned. And so
co-op kind of thing?
I guess in some ways it's employee owned. And actually, I don't know the difference between employee owned versus co-op.
I don't either, but I always feel that those two always seem to overlap.
Yeah, maybe co-op is because I can be a co-op member at like Wheatsville. I can't be a member at H-E-B. So I think it's only the employees. So like people come to work differently. They show up as partners, essentially.
We have to realize so much. We've talked about so many topics. Do you have, by any case, an undiagnosed ADHD by any means? Because
apparently this is a symptom. I read about it often. I go,
Yeah.
I don't even think I even need to take the test. I think I've self-diagnosed myself. Like I've WebMD'd myself.
Oh, yeah.
Where I'm like, yeah.
Dr. Tab.
Dr. Tal. I'm like, well, yeah, come on.
Well, my sister has asked me about that, and I had been tested for it. And actually, the woman said I didn't have it. But
She's a quack. Kidding. So you've only been, how long have you been in Texas then?
Since 2021.
Okay. So you've been here for 3 years.
Yeah.
And you're enjoying it.
Love it. And actually, how we got here, so after my friend told me about Central Market and HEB,
Yeah.
I stayed up till like 2 a.m. in the morning trying to find every buyer's name on LinkedIn, and got very lucky that a buyer responded and said, hey, I'd be open to trying a sample of your product. I was leaving Texas to go to Arizona in 2 days. And I said, I'm only here for another 2 days. Could we meet in person? And he's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, I have one meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. I think it was. And then I just rented a car like immediately and then drove up overnight I-35 while listening to Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights the entire way. He was like my riding companion and just going, all right. Because I was so uncertain about what was going to happen. And that basically changed the trajectory of our lives. Matthew McConaughey.
Have you served Matthew McConaughey enough?
No. I am manifesting it.
You should.
And it's interesting because I stayed at a friend's place.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you know what? I got this book. Here, you should read it. And it was Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights. And I was like, we're getting closer, Matthew. Mr. McConaughey. One day.
All right.
He took a big risk, taking a step back from the rom-coms and then getting into the
more serious stuff.
Stuff, that he said people weren't considering him for. So I feel like it was a reminder that, again, you are enough. You believed in yourself and invested in yourself and are working towards that. And I think it's pretty magical.
I met him briefly.
Yeah.
He was really, really nice.
Awesome.
He was over polite. He was walking a dog, and the dog was like running around my ankles.
Uh-huh.
And he was dating Penelope Cruz at the time because she was with him.
Oh, forgot about that.
This was like on the street.
Vanilla Sky?
Yeah. Around that time, like 2005.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm just playing with these dogs. I love dogs.
Yeah.
And my friend's like, you just talked to Matthew McConaughey.
It's awesome.
And Penelope Cruz. I'm like, is that why they look so attractive? it was not fair.
Yeah.
And Penelope Cruz is like a million times prettier in person.
Wow.
And it's Matthew McConaughey is exactly the way you think you look in person.
Yeah.
But I don't put celebrities that when I meet them, it doesn't click.
You're right. Mm-hmm.
Like I had a whole conversation with Larry King once and didn't put it together.
Whoa.
Yeah. Right. Like he's a very familiar, famous face. And I was like, oh my, that's why he looks familiar. I'm like such an idiot about that.
But that's what makes you so special. You really can meet eye to eye with anyone because it's not like you're looking for like a reference point in your mind, like a heuristic where you can like, oh, this person's wearing this hat and therefore my friend and therefore I should have a conversation like this. You're just like, hey man, what's your soul like?
I was just like, you have dogs. It was so simple. It was as simple as that. You have dogs. I like dogs. Your dogs are around my ankles. This is cool.
Oh yeah, you have 2 dogs.
Yeah.
Were you always a dog person?
Yeah, I grew up with 2 black labs.
So different from the ones you have now. Your dogs are petite.
My wife had them before we started to date.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we talk about, what's going to happen when these dogs go across the Rainbow Bridge. And I don't know if we're going to get another dog.
Oh.
We keep talking about when to get a really, really, really big dog.
Yeah.
Great Dane.
Oh, Great Dane. Amazing.
Corso would be cool. Those are basically mastiffs.
Okay.
But they kind of look like pit bulls.
Oh, okay.
Like a Rottweiler.
Yeah.
It's open for discussion. I think one big dog would be fine. But then again, that's just, more big everything,
Right. Well, at least you're in Texas, so you have the space for it.
We do have the space for it. Absolutely. You had this meeting.
Yeah.
Central Market.
Mm-hmm.
He says yes. You drive all night from San Antonio to where?
Dallas.
Okay, that's a hike.
It was a hike.
It's like 4 hours.
At night, I-35 with all the construction at the time was so scary. You're driving beside these like 18 wheelers and you're just like, focus. Do not lose focus. But actually, funny story, because, as an entrepreneur, you're kind of on a lean budget. I actually told a friend of mine who was in New York at the time, like, hey, I'm going to drive up to Dallas. Do you know anyone there? And he's like, I'm actually going to go visit my friend tonight. And I'm staying with him in Dallas. So I actually crashed on the couch, caught up with my friend in New York, and had a place to crash in Dallas. It was awesome. It was perfect.
I love those things because I feel like when those things happen, those serendipitous moments, it's more security that you're going in the right step.
Yeah.
Like even if the meeting didn't become a fruitful outcome, there's probably something in there that's going to be utilized at a later moment. I think everything is building upon.
Yeah.
It's like, I send out pitch decks to several people and you get the client.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop me from doing it. Like I sent one for Tony Hawk. I know it sounds like a huge, big leap of faith.
Yes.
It was out here. I was like, well, you know what? Turns out some people I know are in that world of his world. And it was like, look, he doesn't have the time to do interviews. I'm also a tiny little podcast to, the things that he's done. But it's like me having to set that whole pitch up and putting it down at paper. It was like, like you're talking about when you start a business.
Yeah.
You have this idea of what you think it is.
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, you think it's in clear, sharp, but it's like getting sharper and clearer.
Yeah.
Me having to go through do that, like it put it like, oh, maybe this is more of what my podcast is going.
Yeah.
And so even though like his people passed on it, it also meant that I got something out of it. So now I have pitch deck. I have things, these resources that I didn't think about needing to do, but I just have them anyways, right?
There's something I think that, first I remember learning that you can actually rewire your brain, that you have like white matter in your brain and your neurons can rewire themselves with training. And I think it requires actual work though, right?
Yeah.
And like that work, I think that's why they say like no work goes
punished. That was the one I was. No good deed goes unpunished.
Oh, that's not a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what somebody told me. Like you try to do something nice for someone and it backfires.
Yeah.
I always remember people telling me that. I was like, that sucks.
That sucks. No.
I don't want to do anything.
No, don't. Yeah. Don't listen to that person. That person is not about energy and, abundance. That person is like, let's keep things tight and not let people in.
Were you manifesting when you had your meeting with the central market person?
Mm-hmm.
Were you manifesting like mentally, like this is going to go this way? This is going to happen.
I've always tried to be very like genuine and honest. Mm-hmm. And I think I was just trying to say like, this is a thesis that we have that we think could be a good fit. Mm-hmm. And there's space for more snacks like this in the market. I think it just happened to coincide with something that they felt like could have potential as well. Manifesting is good, but then there's a point where manifesting becomes convincing someone else. And so it's managing that arc, I think. Because when you're trying so hard, it's sometimes hard to sustain it and doesn't feel authentic. So I think we were definitely flabbergasted when we heard back from, the buyer, like, hey, we think this is interesting. Are you working with a distributor? Like, huh? What? You think they're us? Really? Yeah, we were shocked.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it changed our lives.
On paper, it sounds like you lucked out.
Yeah, definitely.
I always say luck is where hard work meets opportunity.
Yes.
Because up until that moment, you were like beating the pavement.
Yeah.
You were doing the food busking on the street corner.
Yeah, that's right.
During a time when people didn't even want someone to look at them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We talk about entrepreneurship and in the past 5 years or when interest rates were really low, a lot of it's, the money that can come when you're raising money and all the stuff and the capital that's needed. I think entrepreneurship is that spirit and that encouragement that you get from the community of just egging you on or looking for those signs that, hey, maybe you're moving in the right direction, or maybe you should switch a little bit. And that can be someone's trying your product or buying your product or just listening to you about what your product is. That's like what enough is. That like, hopefully anyone who tries our product and learns about our story afterwards, like, oh, wow, they believe in the entrepreneurial spirit of creating something from nothing and just giving something a try. Like, let's just give it the old college try and see what happens. Because you never know what's going to happen. So much hair.
Yeah, you should see what's on the floor.
Are you surprised with how much hair it is?
No, because I saw how much hair you have.
I'm always surprised.
So run your hands through your hair. How's that feel?
Very light, very short. Hello.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it's just fun to have. So you have like really thick hair, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to be able to give you a haircut where the layers are like very loose at the ends.
Okay.
And so it's a lot softer. What I'd like to do is kind of just put a little curling iron in the ears, give like a fun little wave.
Oh, yes.
And then you'll have something really cool to, enjoy the rest of today with.
Awesome.
So how has the feedback been with the crackers?
Oh, yeah. So we started with those bites and then it was a crazy story. We pitched HEB on those. And the week after, their number one question is naturally, okay, we need to be concerned about supply chain. Is the product going to come in? Can you actually keep up? And I said, yeah, for sure. We've been working with a co-packer for the past 9 months. We can do this. And then...
And what's a co-packer?
A co-packer is a bakery partner that you work with to make your product. Some people make it in-house themselves, but we just didn't have the money to invest in the infrastructure. And so in the interim, you can find these baking partners who will work with, 3 or 4 brands and make all of their product. He basically showed up at my apartment to the following Tuesday. Like, hey, do you have time for a meeting? I was like, huh? You live an hour and a half away from here. This can't be good. And lo and behold, he was like, I'm done with this. Like, we can't raise more money. It's a bad time. We're probably going to file for bankruptcy. And it was kind of that led us to Crackers. He's a really nice guy. He's got 3 kids. And we just kind of went into protective family mode. Like, what can we do? Yeah. What do you want to do with the business? Do you want to grow the business? Do you want to sell the business? And in talking to, his team, I think we realized that gluten-free stuff has a really negative perception of tasting healthy. People don't want stuff that tastes healthy. I mean, we want stuff that tastes healthy.
Oh, I would have eaten a hell of a lot more carrots if they tasted like French fries.
Yeah. Yeah.
I probably wouldn't be wearing glasses.
Right.
Instead.
Right.
I probably had enough of the vitamin from there. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I think there's this idea like, oh, but it's healthy. And you're like,
no thanks. And so, what we realized was we need to make something that just actually tastes delicious and that anyone will eat. Love hot honey. Love putting it on pizza, on salad, squash and tea. We ended up putting it on a cracker and giving it the old college try. We were shocked at how many people reached out to us. Like on Instagram, like, wow, this product is great. This cracker has a crunch like a regular cracker. I don't feel like I'm eating gluten-free. I feel like I'm a normal person again, And that was a reminder of the emotionality that is associated with eating. And I think that was the moment where we thought,
eating's emotional.
It's emotional. Definitely emotional.
I mean, hence the phrase emotional eating.
Yes.
I mean, people eat because of emotions.
Or lack of emotions, and you're numb and you're looking for the emotions.
That too. There's always the inverse in life.
There is. Yeah, so that kind of started it for us. And the feedback was wonderful. And then we kept on selling out. And then we were like, okay, we need to work with a larger partner and kind of change our branding. And next thing you know, we've got a small pack format for like charcuterie boards. And then we have like an everyday cracker. And yeah, depending on when this airs, when will this air? We will be in Whole Foods.
But it's exciting.
Yeah.
Super exciting. It's a big deal. And it's a great thing. I mean, it's so quick that, I feel like it's a very quick success story. And the reason I say success story, hear me out.
Yeah. You hear like the deep breath. Jury's still out. Yeah.
No, it's a success because hear me out. Most people would not consider making a product and getting it to market a success. Most people don't make it to that part.
Right.
I read like most podcasts stop after 7 episodes.
Oh.
Right. So that was one thing. The other thing that's a success is you got it in a store. That's a success. Celebrate all the wins.
Yeah.
Because if you only celebrate the big wins, and then what happens is when there is another small step, it's like if you're only celebrating the floors, not the steps that take you to level 1 to 10, you're like, there's like all these flights of stairs. It's like not easy to get up 5 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
But if you're only celebrating them on the roof,
yeah,
you're like, well, like you could have celebrated the whole way up. You could have stopped and enjoyed floor 3, you know? And so I think like when I say it's a success story, I think it's an amazing story. You started something with all the odds against. So you started during a time when the world was locked down. You started with no job security.
Yeah.
Like think about this. You're doing all of these things.
Crazy. We are crazy.
Yeah. But
I think,
but that's also like, no risk, no reward.
Right. And I think you bring up a good point. A friend of mine was like, hey, this is the most successful you guys will be up until this point. Like maybe it's time to hang your hat.
Hang your hat?
Like, what?
Why?
Because it takes so long. 4 or 5 years we've been at it, and like we're getting some great opportunities this year, with Central Market and H-E-B and Whole Foods. And they were like, well, now, you should sell it, And I was like, but I'm, to sell it, to do the other thing that you love. And I was like, but I am doing the thing that I love.
Yeah. What is the other thing that you would love that you're not doing?
Yeah, I've been loving it. I mean, definitely hard, no doubt, and challenging, but I feel like I'm growing. And I feel like it actually forces me into community and meeting a bunch of different people with so many different experiences and jobs and responsibilities. It's truly kind of magical, honestly.
If someone were to have told you all the hurdles you're going to encounter, like there was a genie said like, hey, you can do this, but I'm just gonna let you know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in this movie.
Right.
Would you have done it?
Yes. So we actually have a friend who is in the food business as well. His name is Brad, and he has a product called Good Word, a protein cookie. It's like the cleaner Lenny and Larry's. He actually started off with a refrigerated product as well.
Okay. And
every step of the way, he's like, guys, get out of refrigerated. It's hard. That's the supply chain. Texas gets so hot. Don't. Like the business is already hard as it is. Like, don't create more challenges. And so in some ways we actually do have that genie. Yeah. And so when we, leaned into crackers, he's like, I told you, I told you what it was going to be like. I knew you're, going to end up in this path. And so I can definitively say, yes, if I heard it from someone that it would be this hard, I would still do it.
That's good.
So I don't know if that makes me crazy or something, but I feel like it's kind of what I should be doing right now.
Did it try and scare you away?
I think
it goes back to the impossible.
Yeah. I think there's many ways to make money. And I think a lot of people who told me to stop were like, you could be making money doing this other thing. You could be trading Bitcoin. You could be going back into finance. And
did it bring you joy?
At the time, it did. At the time, I was covering accounts like BlackRock and Vanguard and USAA. And, for USAA in particular, it's like, well, wait a second. All the members of USAA are either veterans or currently serving in the military or their families. And so they have investments, and USAA, this group is investing that for a return. And so if I cover them well, then their returns are going to be good. So I kind of really took it from a how do I serve perspective. But when things ended in my career there, like in finance, I didn't have the heart to go back into it. And I searched for a good 2 years for what would bring me joy.
During those 2 years, this is when you're working on your own brand, or?
Oh, I was couch surfing at friends' places around the world. Signed up to take an English class, a theology class, philosophy class.
I love philosophy classes.
So they're so hard.
It's so fun.
They're so interesting, but I can't write a paper. I'm no good at that.
I hated that part.
Yeah.
I was taking college night courses in high school.
Wow.
I was bored in school.
That's amazing.
Taking philosophy and ethics, like college night courses.
Oh my gosh.
I was the youngest person in the whole classroom.
Oh my gosh.
It was so fun debating people about Sartre and Spinoza and
oh my goodness.
Immanuel Kant and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's fascinating, but writing, it's not my strong suit.
Yeah, I'm more of a orator.
Yes, likewise. I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. And, when my dad was diagnosed with diabetes, I'd made a recipe for him. And I was telling my friend, old client, like I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And they kind of said, go forward in confidence, no matter how fragile. Why don't you just pick up something that you did when you're in high school that you weren't paid for and you just did? And then that's kind of what led me to food.
You always enjoyed baking?
Yeah, I took cake decorating classes at the local community center when I was like 10.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of fun, and always like baking cakes for birthdays. I think that was my way of being creative. And then when I was playing rugby, I just realized I was eating French fries before practice, and I remember puking from the acidity. And I realized like, okay, what I eat kind of matters. So I can't really be having pizza and fries before a match.
Yeah,
so that's when I started kind of thinking about food, and that was back in 2004.
Okay. Yeah. You're quite a bit younger than me.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
2004. How old were you in 2004?
19.
Yeah. 2004. You're 19. What?
I feel like we're not that. Yeah. I'm 30. I'm turning 39 this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not that.
Why did I think you were younger?
Yeah.
I give off younger vibes.
Everyone says that.
Yeah. I thought you were like doing all this in like your
22.
Like no, you started the company at like 24, But even if you,
because I dress like a child and I walk around with a backpack, that's usually people are like, "Oh, kid,
yeah,
I'll take it." Hey,
I will always take getting carded. I love getting carded.
Love it.
Like, oh, you want to see my ID?
Born in the 1900s, baby.
Yeah, I do quote McLovin.
I mean, not to go dark, but
Go for it.
like when kids ask you, like, what was it like during 9/11?
No one's asked me that.
Oh yeah.
No.
Where were you?
I was oversleeping.
Okay.
And
because you were in California at the time, so it would have been before school.
Yeah, and I was like late. I think I stayed out late the night before doing something with my band.
Okay.
And I just remember watching the TV, and I know it sounds stupid, but I know people have said this before, and it's not me just plagiarizing.
Yeah.
I literally thought, like, why is Diet Butler playing on the TV?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Did I fall asleep watching HBO?
Wow.
Yeah. I really thought that. And then when I came to my senses, I was like, oh, wow, this is wild.
Right.
And then I found out that it was an American plane, like American Airlines.
Right.
On the planes.
Yeah.
And my friend's father is pilot. So immediately I thought of my friend, and I reached out, and she was freaking out because she has not heard from her dad.
Oh my gosh.
Her dad was not on the plane, but he was on the East Coast, I believe.
Wow.
If I remember it serves me correct, she was on the East Coast, either leaving the East Coast or going to the East Coast.
Yeah.
And so that was the reason why there was more of a concern. Was he one of the planes?
Yeah.
I think when your parent is a pilot, you just go, you're going to be where? And like they could say Boston, they could say New York, they could say Philly. You're like, oh, they're going somewhere.
Right.
There. And, I think, so, she was very, very concerned about that. And yeah, I mean, I remember that. Like I said, I had not gone to the East Coast at that time. I never made it. And I almost was in New York during 9/11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
For like a performance, a show or something?
no, sort of.
Okay. How old were you at the time?
Oh God, I graduated high school in 2000. So I was like,
Okay.
2001 is like 19.
Okay.
I remember that year, the summer 2001, there was Ozfest. And my buddy, the Reverend B. Dangerous, that's his name, he was the host. And so I had gone to the show in California.
Okay.
And I knew that they were doing a show out in like New Jersey area. And I was thinking about going out at like 18, 19 years old, going out to New York, hanging out with him. And then in some of the guys I knew in bands and all of that. And my parents were like, we're not going to give you money to do this because I wasn't making much money.
Yeah.
Selling cameras and going to school full time, right? Parents said, no, you're not going to. And I was going to stay with some, his name's Michael. He, I don't talk to him anymore. I haven't talked to him in years, like literally years. At the time, he was the singer for the Misfits.
Okay.
What band? And nothing from New Jersey.
Okay.
I was going to like hang out there, and then I was going to hang out with the guys in the Misfits and stay out there in New Jersey and New York. I was going to go into the city.
Yeah.
All that jazz. And I did not end up going. And I would have more likely my flight, my length of stay would have either ended just before or overlapped.
Oh my God.
During that 11. And I remember Kenny, is the time he was like the tour manager. He's one of the brothers of Jerry Only and Doyle von Frankenstein. I think this is Frankenstein, the guitar player for the Misfits. He was trying to explain to me the size of
the towers. Yeah.
Using a skyscraper in Los Angeles, the U.S. Bank Building, as a reference point.
Right.
Imagine twice as high, 4 times as wide.
Oh.
And there's 2 of them. That's how he described it. And he goes, that's what went down. It put in perspective like how massive those buildings were. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
And I remember it, for me, I just was like, oh, shoot, And then once that happened, a lot of my friends from high school, and that's when they all ended up going into the military after that. A lot of people I knew enlisted.
Yeah.
Some of them came back physically fine. Some of them came back not physically fine.
Any of them committed suicide because it's a high rate amongst veterans.
Yeah. No, I do have a lot of friends that are, I know some people who are active military. I know people who are retired. The people I know in military none of them have succumbed to that. I do know that they have had their battles with depression. Yeah. And so far they're winning.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
it's I think, they're not an exact stat, but the rate of suicide amongst men is really, I think, often overlooked. What's it called? A clothing brand called Roan. And they've got like a line that's like men bracketality. And they do basically like working groups with men to talk about just to be in community, because you're kind of raised to like be strong, be a man, not express your feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
And
that starts at an early age because I'll talk about this on another episode with Zach from Vassar. It's like, your grandpa, your dad, your uncle, your big brother, and you get a scrape.
Yeah. Right.
Rub some dirt in it, you're fine.
Yeah.
It starts with that.
Yeah.
So my kids, I'm trying to be like, okay, not going to react.
Yeah.
Are you bleeding?
Yeah.
Where does it hurt?
Yeah.
Try to keep a very stoic appearance so they don't overreact. Like if it's something bad, I'm freaking out, they're going to freak out even more.
Yeah.
So, but also be like, okay, this is bad or not bad. Like, hey, you're bleeding. This is fine.
Right.
You're going to be okay. It is a sad thing. The whole depression or PTSD thing. It's a dark topic. I don't think many people realize how the frequency of this, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not once every so often. It's too often.
We should look up a stat. I feel like
I need to bring somebody on and have them talk about that.
Yeah. That would be great.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you a totally different look than what you came in here.
Oh.
Well, this fact that, like, for one, your hair was long.
Yeah.
You wanted it short.
Yes.
decided to do something a little, not as short as maybe a bob, but guess what? If you get bored with this, you can always go there. So that's something I like to definitely explain to clients and guests in the salon is if you've never explored all the, like if you have hair down to here, you know, like, let's explore some of the different lengths in between. And, you know, haircut number 2, haircut number 3, you go, you know what, I'm over it.
Yeah.
Like, let's go short. Cool. At least you got that out of your system.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So I'm just having fun curling some pieces. I'm using an 1.25 iron. And if you have an iron, I know you Canadians are using the metric system. I don't know what that is.
I don't have a curling. Oh, but actually, I've heard that getting hair curlers is the play. Thoughts on hair curlers?
Oh, like the ones you wrap your hair in?
Yeah.
You know,
Like they actually hold your hair in like pretty well, is what someone said.
They can.
Okay.
I'm concerned that your hair is too coarse.
Oh, okay.
That the amount, like I'm using this iron at quite a high heat.
Okay.
And the reason I think I'm able to do it is because I'm squeezing it against a metal plate. And it's compressing your hair. And it's such a concentrated amount of heat. It's way higher than any sort of hot roller system would be.
Okay.
And because of that, I think that's why your hair is able to hold it.
Okay.
If you have a friend who does have a set, try them out.
Okay.
I'm going to recommend this over the iron. I mean, the
rollers.
The rollers are going to turn out to become, they're going to start off great.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go, oh, they actually don't hold as much. And that's just based off of my experience with individuals who have this sort of coarseness.
Did you say it's like my hair's too healthy? Like if it was like dyed, it would be better? No? Okay.
I mean, if it was highlighted and platinum and it matched the color of the cake, maybe.
I had platinum hair before.
I bet it looked cool. I bet it was fun.
It was so fun.
The way I know how to get something consistent is by using some sort of hot tool where I can focus the amount of heat, get it high enough that it's going to do this. And then see, I'm just going to run my fingers through it and shake it up. Which is a Taylor Swift reference. I'll say if I say shake it up, see, I just said it like 9 times. So like, can she sue me for that?
She's got strong lawyers.
I know. And so here's the thing, like if I wanted to make shirts that say TS82, is that a lawsuit? That's Tab Salsman, born 82. Like,
that'd be okay.
I think it'd be okay.
Yeah, because she's 89.
Yeah, but what if I was born in 89?
Then you probably not.
But that's that would be like my birth year.
Yeah. That's true. It's interesting. There was actually a lawsuit. A brand called Momofuku has sent a cease and desist order to a few other brands that make hot chili crisp. I think it's chili crunch.
David Chang.
Yeah.
Ugly Delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Exactly what you're talking about.
And it's creating a bit of controversy of, should they have gotten the trademark? That's kind of like descriptive. And a lot of people have spicy, crunchy sauces. Yeah. So I think you bring up a good point. Should you be able to? Yeah, you should.
I mean, I'm not going to.
You know what? I guess the difference would be, in a sense, is like if you're mass creating this whole website that's intentionally deceiving people that it is tailored, which you're like, no, it's Tab.
It's just I happen to have some initials.
Yeah.
Like we're both 80s babies.
Yeah.
Come on, throw me a bone here.
Exactly.
You have 89. I have 82.
Let's be friends. Come on.
Yeah.
It's a special decade.
Yeah. We're 7 years apart. So look up real quick. I'm just putting a little smoothie cream through your hands.
Yeah, where can I get this?
This is Pureology.
Okay.
So, it came in with like really nice clean hair. It had like a cool little lived-in feel. It was good. So I didn't want to go through do too much.
Okay.
But hair doesn't need to have like a million things in it for it to look good.
Okay.
And I thought about like, do I want to put some sort of like texturizing spray or anything like that? But I was like, no, I really just wanted to like bring out the texture and shine and keep it really soft.
I used Orbe shampoo, and I feel like whenever you use it, it's like your hair just feels so soft.
Yeah, they make great shampoos. So, I mean, I think any brand sold in a salon or salon professional brand is great. You know, that's why I always ask people, I'm like, oh, what do I have? I'm like, what are you using? I'm not saying don't buy the HEB. I'm just saying that might be part of the problem, not the solution.
I did love my Head and Shoulders days, though.
I think I used that when I was like a kid.
Yeah. I feel like there were only 2 kinds of shampoo. It was that and herbal essences.
That's all they had.
That's all they had. I felt like that's all they had.
The herbal essence made a killing of sexual moaning.
Oh, yes.
You said it pretty much like the commercial.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's true. I forgot about that.
I didn't. I thought they were the funniest commercials.
I need to think of a commercial for our product to go on radio.
On radio?
Something that's like funny. I need to literally spend a weekend just watching like The Big Lebowski, Talladega Nights, and then like getting my inspo from there.
You should. I should hook you up with some of the comedians.
Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah, and then just say, hey, here's what I want to do, and then.
Oh yeah, I would love to do it.
I'll just do a connect, and you guys can.
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. I will supply endless amounts of hot honey crackers.
They're great. They're delicious.
Thank you.
I hope Ashley likes them that you dropped.
I know, me too. Yeah. I mean, they're good with like pimento cheese, chicken salad, peanut butter, Gruyere, manchego cheese. I feel like Bubba from Forrest Gump when I tell people like all the things that they can enjoy with the crackers.
Maybe that's the piece. Maybe that's your commercial.
Gosh, I love Bubba. He's just such a nice character.
Maybe that's your commercial.
Yes.
It's you and your sister just talking, or somebody else. You know, you could do this cheese, that cheese, that cheese.
I would love that.
And it's like you guys are like going on a walk. You guys start driving in the car. And then at the end of the skit, you're just picking it off the shelf, putting it in the basket.
Yes.
There you go.
Love it. Love it.
See, we just heard a whole treatment right now. I'll direct it. I actually don't know what if I not direct.
I don't even know what directing is.
Oh, I have a buddy who does that stuff.
Oh, yeah? Okay. I'm always like, what's a producer? What's a director? I was in a different world growing up, so unfamiliar.
Producers usually are the money management.
Okay.
I know a couple people who've done that. One of the people I actually really want to have on my podcast is he produced Chef's Table, the Netflix series.
Haven't seen it.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
I'm watching The Bear right now. I feel like you'd like The Bear.
Chef's Table is a docuseries of amazing world.
Oh, okay. I'll check it out.
And he also produced Welcome to Wrexham. Wrexham, the soccer.
Yeah, with
Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
He does that too.
Oh wow.
So he
that's on my list. I've heard that show is amazing, and then all the story is amazing. How they invested in the sports franchise and like really like reinvigorated the kind of, I guess, enthusiasm for the team.
Yeah, and they really do care about the team.
That's the best part. It's actually like the real life version of Ted Lasso.
It does sound a little Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
I love Ted Lasso. All right, let's put your eyeballs on.
Okay.
Get the whole thing.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. So I was hoping that you could go through. And you can get out of the shower, towel dry your hair.
Yeah.
And just use a ton of this. It's called Beach Wave Sugar Stack.
Perfect. Yeah.
Right. And obscene amounts. So like, oh, I'm doing too much.
Okay.
It'll be dripping wet again.
Okay.
And then just squeeze the towel.
Okay.
And get it all out. And then you'll be able to like have some fun flips and flicks.
Okay.
And then if you want it to be more polished like this, you just wrap it around a curling iron.
Amazing. So do I need to use a blow dryer? No, just do a scrunching.
Just put all that in.
Okay.
And that's going to give you some hold. And then you'll have a nice like air. I mean, it's hot enough so you can just let it air dry. If you don't want to show is let's say you like the air dry look.
My hair is so light.
I know.
My head is so light right now.
The amount of hair on the ground is ridiculous. Is that if you enjoy the way your hair looks,
okay,
and you want it to happen sooner, because
okay,
show up somewhere,
yeah,
then you want to use a diffuser, just like an attachment that helps.
Yeah, that big shower head thing.
Exactly.
Okay,
it stops the air pressure.
Okay,
but you still get the temperature.
Okay.
So you want to try it on the highest heat setting of your dryer, but with like the lowest airflow setting, because airflow is what creates frizz. And so you're trying to not disturb there. You want to just kind of capture it the way it is, right? So if I just go through and I just like,
Yeah.
my hair could be a lot frizzier
Okay.
if I had it on the highest setting.
Which is interesting because the Dyson is like pure wind.
You have a Dyson?
No, but I have used one before and I felt like it was just like blowing.
Yeah, it's strong. I have one.
Yeah.
But I turn it down to like a low setting.
Oh, okay.
So I like the Dyson because you have more flexibility of temperature and airspeed. So you can turn to the lowest airspeed and have it at the highest temperature, where some dryers, it's like if you hit low heat, and if you hit high, you get high heat and high speed. So the lows are connected to the low and the heat is connected to the high.
Yeah. I didn't realize that. That's probably why I just thought max heat, max speed.
Diffusing is like barbecue, low and slow.
My hair will need that. Oh,
okay.
I do. Yeah. Honestly, I think I didn't realize how heavy the hair was.
Yeah.
And just like how light and nice this feels and just like joyful.
It's a weight lifted off your shoulder.
It is. I'm going in a new direction now.
Well, you are. You have a lot. You have this whole other. I think I can't wait to see where your company's going. I just love entrepreneurship, and you were so passionate. I know you're out there. I mean, you and I have been talking about you coming on as a guest for almost 2 months. I feel like.
Yeah.
And your schedule, my schedule is just not like I'm traveling. You're demoing, travel demo, and I'm so glad that you're here.
Me too.
It all worked out.
Thank you.
Thank you for also being so sweet with my boys.
Oh, they're the best.
I'm excited to see what goes on, like I said, with where you're going and how you got here and where you're going. So I understand how you got here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's fun. Started a company in the beginning of COVID in Canada. Decided to leave and go to greener pasture to Texas, out of all the places. It's the classic hero story. You had to leave home to do stuff. Think that. It's like Luke Skywalker.
You know, I actually met, I guess a guy who used to work with Degrassi. He was telling me about storytelling, which I'm not that good at. But he was telling me a little bit about the hero's journey, which it kind of glazed over me because I was like, I'm not really familiar with this.
Yeah.
And I guess you're right, is that we kind of had to leave where we were and kind of create a new path with encouragement from the Texas community and yourself. And I think it's just a reminder like how important it is to encourage people along their path.
Yeah.
Because we just don't know what will happen. And actually that's why I love your kids so much, is they're so enthusiastic. And that's like what we want people to feel, is like to be shamelessly enthusiastic about whatever it is you're interested in. And that's really what Enough is about.
I think they're delicious.
Thank you.
So thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And enjoying your hair.
Thank you. Be going on a date with my fiance.
Yeah.